What's up, everybody? Welcome to the third video in my hopefully very long series of just learning how to draw anatomy. Yeah, I've started seeing that my first two videos getting a little bit of traffic, so that's exciting to see. I hope whoever's watching it is enjoying the content, just observing how I'm kind of taking things step by step, trying to better myself and better my skills in drawing here. So this video, we're drawing the side view, and we're drawing the side view of the left side, we're drawing the side view of the right side, we're drawing the side view for a female figure, we're drawing a side view for a male figure, and we're doing this as a set. So left side male female, right side male female, that's one set. And I think in this video I did around 20 or 21. Yeah, it took a while. Very tedious, especially near the end. But after a few attempts of drawing this figure here, there's a couple of things I started noticing how to draw it in a certain way, or how to line things up. It made it a lot easier for me, specifically the rib cage shape right there. So obviously the figure itself is the line split into 4 sections, and you'll notice the very top tip, the top corner of the rib cage shape, it kind of goes in the middle between in the middle of that second portion from the top. So now, depending which way the figure is actually facing, if the figure is facing to the left, you're going to have that longer side kind of stick out a little bit past the end of the face, from what I've noticed. I mean, that's how I've been drawing all these figures. I'll have to kind of double check some references, but from what I've seen, this is typically how they're drawn, a little bit past the front of the face. But the first few drawings I did, I wasn't really sure how far down to kind of draw that line. But you'll notice the line that's starting from the same point, but heading the opposite direction from which way the face is facing. That's usually a small line, and then on the parallel to it, on the bottom, you'll notice a longer line. So that's kind of how I start off. You'll notice right as this figure is about to be drawn, I draw. Okay, in that case I didn't do it, but typically I draw just a smaller line coming from the top behind the head, and then a larger line that's parallel to that line, and that just kind of gives me the first 2 lines of that rib cage shape right there. And then they both end at the third marker, so basically beginning. Kind of a lot to say, but basically where that bottom quadrant of that line is, where it starts really, that's where those 2 lines end up meeting. So that's how that trapezoid shape for the rib cage gets formed. So that's pretty easy. I've kind of like picked up on just doing it pretty quickly. Right there you see line on the top, line on the bottom that are parallel, and then you just connect them from both ends. But that being said, one of the issues, or maybe not issues, but one of the things I've noticed, it took a bit of time to kind of figure out how to do. You see I'm struggling here with like the pelvic bone area. Those curves that I'm drawing around them is just to kind of get an idea of how the spine would go around the body. So if I start noticing that there's not like this curve in between the rib cage and pelvic area, not like a natural S curve, then something's kind of wrong. Then there's most likely, in my case, the pelvic bone's like too far out. But yeah, I'm just kind of trying to figure that out. After drawing it so many times, it started to look a little better. Like you'll notice here, they start to look decent. And as for the head, that's also kind of easy. Essentially, it's just like a trapezoid. I start curving it near the back, just because I've seen typically, the skull does have curves and stuff. So I'm already kind of training myself to add those curves in there. So whenever we do start drawing actual detailed versions of the skull, I'll kind of already have like a better idea of how that should be done. Yeah, you'll see here once we get later into the video, the lines I draw are just kind of getting more and more just curvy and not as straight. I start like roughing it more so than earlier on in the video. I probably because I'm just getting used to it a little bit, but there were a few parts that I noticed I started getting sloppy. Also has to do with the pelvic bone, and it's one thing I'm going to touch up on real quick. So the farthest corner of the rib cage of where the face is facing, that basically where your rib cage ends, near your belly area. Typically, you would want to connect that corner to the closest corner of the pelvic bone. And in some of these sketches, the pelvic bone is like way too inside of the body, where you would kind of have this really sharp slanted line going from the rib cage to the pelvic bone, and it wouldn't really look that great of a stomach. So that's something I missed on initially. I'm noticing it now as I'm watching the video. So that's something I'm going to keep in mind when I do start drawing more these figures, or just in general more detailed figures of these. But yeah, overall this exercise was probably the toughest one so far. Something I didn't touch up, but in the beginning of the video, you'll see a lot of just like erasing and like restarting of a certain figure. I kept looking back at a reference that I had drawn just to kind of see like, wait, where does this shape go? How am I supposed to align this up? And after a while, it started to kind of click for me, and it became a lot easier to do. But I'm not gonna lie, this was rough to get through. It wasn't all in one sitting, although I tried to do it, but I just couldn't get myself to do it. It was 3 separate sessions, and this video is obviously sped up quite a lot. But I think the total time that I spent drawing was around 2 hours of just like repeating like this figure male version, this figure female version, flip it over, this figure male version, this figure female version. And yeah, it's I definitely now feel more comfortable kind of drawing the figure, probably without the line as a guide, although I'm definitely going to still keep the guide for as long as I can. I didn't really try it in this video to draw it without the line. I know in the previous videos there was like a figure or two that I would just draw, kind of eyeballing it, and it came out looking decent. But I was also having issues near the end of making sure each segment of the line was even. I think I might have been getting tired or something, and I was like putting the line not in the middle, and then when I was splitting it up, the top portion was like way smaller than the bottom portion. So I had to keep going back in and redoing it. And doing these lines too was just kind of really a nuisance for me. But you definitely got to go through this before you're able to just draw it freehand. I definitely feel more confident doing it. Oh, and there, real quick, I was like on autopilot, drawing just like the face in the same direction and I had to quickly redo it because I'm like, wait, what am I doing? But yeah, it's doing it freehand. It takes a lot of time before you get to that point. So these figure lines obviously help, and you guys should definitely use them, you know, as much as you need to. Once you feel a little confident in your ability to draw these figures, you know, try drawing without the lines. Try to see if your spacing between the different shapes makes sense, and if the proportions look good. And yeah, that's really all I can say about this. So yeah, next time we'll be working on the back. I'm really excited about that. So thanks so much for watching, guys. If you like this video, please leave a like, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.